You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. As Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. Logan Lamb, an election security expert, says that a Georgia election server shows evidence that it could have been hacked before the 2016 presidential election and the 2018 vote that gave Georgia Secretary of State Brian Kemp a narrow victory over Democratic incumbent Stacey Abrams. Now, the incident, which occurred in late 2014, long before either of those elections, not only calls into question the integrity of Georgia's voting machines during critical elections, but raises new questions about whether attackers were able to manipulate election data and voter information through the compromised server. Additionally, Georgia counties were among those that Russian hackers targeted in 2016 when they breached some state websites and probed others for vulnerabilities that would have given them access to voter registration databases and other election data and systems. Cleo, why this is important is because people who don't understand viruses, who don't understand computer viruses, don't realize that folks can plant things and lie in wait and then all of a sudden activate them at a certain point. This also was why when the Georgia folks, when they were sued, when Kemp was Secretary of State, they went after Kemp because they quickly deleted those servers. So the problem is when you wipe the servers of the data, you did not have the ability to track the footprints to see exactly what happened. So there's a serious concern among people that these Russian hackers have infiltrated, and we know now remember initially they were saying, oh, it was really all caught. It was kind of like, no, 20 different states they were targeting, and then different places they accessed in Florida. We don't know. We don't know in terms of how far this thing has gone, because the reality is this here. If you are in one particular county and then you put your voter data on that thumb drive, and then you drive that thumb drive down to the election center, and when they put that thumb drive in their computer system, that virus then can go from one county to infect the entire state computer system, and they have a way of hiding these viruses in these computer systems and then just wait. And so for the Trump administration to do nothing on election integrity, for Mitch McConnell to allow that bill that was voted on by the Democrats and Republicans to sit idle, it raises some concerns about whether or not we're actually going to have an election in 2020 that is protected from folks from the outside.
Well, we already know that there's been interference with people's voting capacity for many, many years, even as far as back as Bush. What I'm concerned about, though, is that we do have the technology to stop this. Why are we not using it? I mean, the Russians haven't gotten to the Pentagon, as far as I know, and to any of the mainstream federal sources that we keep sacred and secret. So why are they not trying to put a hold on this? But, of course, people like Trump and his courts are not bothered at all by this interference, because they need this interference to win. And what happened with Kemp in Georgia is an example of the prowess of that type of interruption, because a man stole the election and is still the governor. But Bush did the same thing as the president. So did Trump. So I wonder, what are we going to do about it, particularly, as I said earlier, being that we do have the technology to track external forces who come into our databases. That kind of technology does exist.
Well, and the fact that they're sort of not bothered by this and we're doing everything actively, it seems to thwart any investigation to try to figure out exactly what was going on.
Precisely.
Exactly, because they're benefiting of it. But it's also not just this election. We also need to be thinking about the census that's coming up in 2020, which is going to have some electronic components. So this is going to be far bigger than just this one moment in just Georgia, because if they're doing it in Georgia, I guarantee they were doing Wisconsin, Michigan, Ohio, all the other places that are important to these elections. And I think we have to be mindful that we have another election cycle coming up. So if we're still talking about what happened 4 years ago, then we're not probably actively going to stop what's going to happen in 2020, because in a place like Georgia, where they're deleting the information that we could use to go back, there's no record, right? The people who voted don't get any record. So there's no paper backup. There's nothing.
Right.
But aren't we passive
literally
too?
Digital.
I mean, aren't we passive as citizens in the face of this? I mean, I don't hear, other than Roland and Feel the Whispers, I don't hear that much complaining about this phenomena of interrupting our capacity to have a democratic voting system.
Well, I mean, I think there are actually a lot of people, because remember when California had that recall vote, it was actually political scientists and others who stopped that because of the voting equipment that was used largely in Black, Latino, and poor districts.
But these are silos.
No,
nationally,
these are. But
silos.
what I'm saying is that I think there is stuff happening, but it's partly siloed because this happens at the state level, right? I mean, they are in charge of the kinds of equipment they use, the timing, the date, all of that of elections happens at the state level. So I think that's why it feels that way. But you do have folks like Fair Fight Georgia and others who are sort of trying to increase capacity to talk about this nationally, because the way it happens in Georgia isn't going to be the same way that it happens in Florida or Indiana or any of these other places. But I do think that as more and more places are going to the electronic voting, we have to always be mindful that it just gives us another way, right, to commit elections fraud, right? And the very thing that this set of Republican administrators said they were trying to thwart with these voter ID laws, it seems like they're inviting Russians in the back door to do it. You know, just come through the front door. Don't even try to hide or pretend, because they seem to be giving them all the cover that they need.
It's guaranteed, and it's been guaranteed for several elections now, that the Republicans in particular are going to interfere with the democratic voting process. It's guaranteed. Absolutely. So where is the preemptive strike to counter that? That's my question. And I'm aware of what's happening in California and these different places, but I'm talking about a national outcry against this interference of democracy.
Absolutely, I concur. So we'll see what happens there. You want to check out Roland Martin Unfiltered? YouTube.com/Roland S. Martin. And subscribe to our YouTube channel. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. See that name right there? Roland Martin Unfiltered. Like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/Roland S. Martin. And don't forget to turn on your notifications so when we go live, you'll know it.